Ali Abdelaziz, spoiler alert, right? Islam has been stripped of his lightweight title. You called it the
Mm.
last time. You said, I don't think they will do that to Islam. And Islam said last week, I will not be giving that shit up. And this week Dana announces it's been given up. So best believe that's called a stripping by
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
Dana White, Daddy Dana, the UFC themselves. They stripped that shit off him. Don't that ain't anything else. You know what I mean? They stripped him. I just want that to be clear. Um, with that being said, Ali Abdelaziz says they would have never let him get stripped if the UFC didn't promise that when he fights for the UFC title at welterweight, it'll be for the undisputed, regardless of if it's against JDM or not. Meaning, if JDM gets injured, no matter what time frame, right? If JDM gets injured, they're gonna force JDM to relinquish the title, Jamal Hill style,
Mm.
right? If you remember that story, and
Mm-hmm.
then the title will be
Because he
for a
got injured, then
vacant.
it was an interim. It was an interim belt.
Yeah, so then they would make it for a vacant title fight against the next contender. But whoever wins that will be the undisputed champion.
Mm-hmm.
Basically,
Gotcha.
if JDM gets injured, he has to relinquish his title. My thing, the UFC is making promises that, like, I don't think you can guarantee these promises on JDM's end. Like, can you really say if JDM gets injured, he's going to give up his title and JDM has to agree?
That's fucked up.
Because Jamal Hill did that, but he agreed. Jamal Hill talked to the UFC and he said, you know what? Boom, boom. I'll do it for the company. But I believe if JDM says, I don't want to do that for the company, that's his fucking prerogative. And then, if Islam does want to fight for the title, he either got to wait for JDM to be undisputed or he's going to fight for an interim. But Ali doesn't want Islam to fight for an interim, right? Because that's wasting time. Interim doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna throw it out there. He's not gonna get injured. He said he's ready. He said this week he's ready because he
Yeah.
said he's taking a week off.
Yeah.
Ready. So let line it up. Q3, Q4, Anaheim. I'm gonna say all the fights in Anaheim moving forward, bro.
Because we need one, right? We need one fight in Anaheim.
No, stack that motherfucker when we go. Just stack it.
Mm-hmm.
Just stack it. Give us everything. Give us everything.
Okay, so you're not gonna put too much stock in the injury.
No. I mean, can it happen? Yeah, but I'm gonna say 90% it's not gonna happen. He's fine right now. He's ready to go. He's gonna go back to the gym in a week, so he's ready.
Okay, but what do you think about the fact? See, that's fine, right? But I do want to get your thoughts on the fact of the UFC making promises on other people's behalf and making Islam get stripped because that's another big story here. They forced Islam to get stripped. Last week you said that it would be the craziest thing in the world. They cannot do that, and they just did it.
I honestly I don't get it. Like to me, it's almost like why can't we have double champs anymore? When did this decision become that all of a sudden we can't have two division? I think it boosts up the sport. I think it boosts up the name. Like I love that. I love that even more.
Yeah.
Uh, show us a legend.
As long as you're active doing that, go for it.
Sure. Right.
And I'd like to at least give you the chance, but be quick with then you could be quick with stripping. If you don't fight on a timeline of the UFC or something like that, stripped. End of story.
And most times when someone moves up and becomes a double champion, most fighters aren't moving down to become double champions, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
They don't want to cut as much weight anymore. They want to fight a bigger guy. It's a bigger challenge, you know, that you have to test yourself. So in my eyes, it's almost like if someone does want to become double champ, most likely he'll after, let's say after a year, you kind of are gonna what does that call it? Let go of your other belt and be like, all right, that's cool. I'm a champ over here now. Or if you lose that fight, you then say, oh, I want to go like what Volk did, right? He went to go back down to go like,
and now he's chilling back down there. He's not. He didn't stay at lightweight permanently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's like, all right, never mind. We played around with it. So I think there could be some like rules implemented, right? If you're a double champion, you go 2 years without fighting in one division. Oh yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Just be quick with giving up the title, but I would say let him do it. You know what I mean? And at least let him hold it for the time frame that he can be a double undisputed champion. You know what I mean? Because that's another thing where like you could take away that title after he wins that second title, and then for that small time frame, he would have been that double champ. But you see what they did is they took away that title before the fight even took place because again, they made a promise to Ilya that your next fight will be for the undisputed. I promise you. And they're doing this. They think, I don't know where they get these like crazy ideas, but they're like, okay, we did this with Ilya. Now we're going to do this with Islam. I guarantee you that they're like, hey, no, Islam, we promise you because we did this with Ilya. It's like, dude, you're making promises on everybody's behalf, forcing everybody. And I get that it's your fucking belt. I do get that. But I think that the champ has to have some kind of say in the matter, especially if they're trying to be active.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like moving forward, they're making some hard stances on
a hard stance.
But you know, and I guess I can't use John Jones anymore because John Jones will probably never ever go back down to lightweight, so he'll never have a problem of wanting to be a double champ, lightweight, heavyweight. So I'm assuming in the future one day they're gonna have some guy that's gonna test the waters and be like, hey, I want to be a double champ, and they may give him a little bit more. I know it's this conversation will never end unless one day they just do a hard stance. I just don't see him doing it.
Well, it seems like right now they're going pretty hard stance on it because Islam is right their like most warranted champion. That's the pound for pound guy.
That's true. Yeah. Becoming one of the best ever in the sport.
So it seems like there is quite a hard stance at this point, like now. And he's washed out the whole division. He cleared it out. You know what I mean? Like, name another guy for Islam, really. Like, sure, Arman, there's an argument. I guess there was the Ilya argument, but aside from Ilya and Arman, he cleared it out. There was no contenders.
Yeah. That two names would have been the nail in the coffin. But then kind of what happens, too, it's like then another rising star comes, right, in 2 years. Like, oh, but you didn't fight him. That conversation will always just keep going because there will always be a rising competitor. And then it will be Patty. Let's say Patty goes on a 2-fight win streak. Like, oh, but you didn't fight Patty.
Exactly. Or if Ilya retires before fucking Patty gets to that title fight. Shit like that. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
You brought up John Jones, so let me just throw it out there. They're on a path, collision course. You're talking Ilya and Patty? Is that what you said? I didn't hear you.
I think eventually, yeah.
Yeah. They definitely are. Well, right now, because Ilya's getting that title, Patty's got like one more win, and then he gets that fucking title. You got to give it to him, especially if Ilya wins.
And he knows how to sell fights. He has a good name. You know, he's on a nice little roll. Like I don't know, I forgot what his record is, but he's not undefeated, right?
In the UFC, he's undefeated.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, probably like 7-0.
Good name.
Honestly, with that win over Chandler, though, a guy like Chandler, like Ilya's fighting in the next month and a half, 2 months. If Ilya wants a quick return, I could see them announcing Patty versus Ilya. If Patty just sits and waits.
Patty versus Simon.
I won't disagree. Especially because Patty sold that fight already. In the post-fight call-out. He's a fucking sausage or whatever you want to call him. And a Twinkie. Sausage and a Twinkie or something like that.
He's speaking like you.
I still remember. You know what I mean? It's off the top of my head. I remember it. That's what you need to create these moments.
He's just funny with it. His swag's just funny with it. You know what I mean? Like, he's just funny.
Yeah, like, who cares? It's all good. I want to mention John Jones. People are saying, and I know it's not apples to apples because you just mentioned that. It's not like John is moving away from the division to fight for another title. But they are saying, damn, how the fuck? Because on a timeline level, right? How the fuck are you going to strip Islam before you strip John Jones? Because, like, the argument there is, like, if Islam wanted to return back down to lightweight, you know what I mean? He could, in theory, do that in a time frame before John even returns. You feel me? So then how are you going to say you're holding up the division? Again, it's because they made Ilya a promise that he's fighting for the vacant title, undisputed title, regardless.
Right. Since you moved up. No, you're 100% right on that. There was promises made behind closed doors.
But the point about John Jones and kind of him not getting stripped, but Islam getting stripped on a short timeline.
He's a lot. They give John Jones a lot more leeway.
What's Dana White's like affinity with this? I'm so pissed off at the whole matter. Like, I'm done with it. Dana's like dying on a hill. It's like when somebody
Dying
won't
on a
admit
hill.
that they're wrong, you know?
Right. He's dying on a hill. He's dying on a
Even
hill.
Tom is like, yo, like, let's move on.
Look at it.
I'm wasting my prime years. I'll fight Cyril. Tom's father in their fucking like YouTube vlog was like, I don't know why the UFC wants us to wait. We've been telling him we want to fight.